It differs in vulnerability management. I would argue that attack surface management is like rectangles. Vulnerability management is a square, right? It's still a rectangle and encompassed inside of, if you imagine, a Venn diagram, we're literally looking at most of vulnerability management, in my opinion, is inside asset management. So there is a great deal of overlap because we want to incorporate those vulnerabilities. And when we talk about this in general terms, we also want to address things that we didn't know were exposed, right? So that's why, in my opinion.
So I was going to say, I actually think there's absolutely overlap, but there is some that ASM does do that VM doesn't, and vice versa. There's definitely a lot of overlap in the center, but imagine not knowing, having a policy for something. Vulnerability management might have a list of assets that you continually make sure. For example, I'm just going to use a scanning example, or not a scanning example. Agent example. We have installed agents. Those agents report back and understand what vulnerabilities those things have. Well, you're not going to install that agent on something you don't know exists in the network.
Because you don't know it's there.
Right. So an attack surface management approach might have some sort of scanner in your network that scans your network for anything an attacker would see if they were in there. It's going to pick up rogue devices. Right. So there's a pro there, but there's also cons. So there's going to be some overlap, but they each have their pros and cons, which we'll dig into.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point.